Cain and Abel is a very popular story in the Bible. It's easily talked about in Sunday school because, I mean, it's right at the beginning of the Bible. Basically everyone who's even thought about reading the Bible knows of this story and has probably read it in the Bible, but I'm going to recap it just in case. So Adam and Eve, the two first humans, from last week's episode, who were punished for doing something that they didn't know was wrong until afterward, they had kids, and they had two male children, Cain and Abel. Cain was a gardener. They would get fruits and vegetables and whatever. Abel was a shepherd who would, tend to the flock. And one day, Cain brought an offering to the Lord out of the good of his own heart, I guess. He just brought fruit to the Lord to offer it to God. And Abel brought the firstborn of his sheep. Now, something that is very important, the New King James Version, at the very least, specifically says that Cain just brought fruit. There was no reason for it other than wanting to please the Lord. There was nothing wrong with the fruit. He just brought fruit. That's it. He brought fruit out of the goodness of his heart. Abel brought the firstborn of his sheep. Now, for some reason, God's like, Abel thinks this is great. I love this sheep. But to Cain, he was like, whatever. It specifically says that the Lord accepted and respected Abel's offering, but not Cain's. Why? We'll get there. Anyway, so Cain's upset. He's like, what the heck, God? And then he's jealous of his brother, of Abel. So he strikes him. He lures him away and strikes him on the head, kills him. Cain kills Abel. That's the first murder in the Bible. And I believe the second sin mentioned by name. Because he was jealous because God didn't accept his offering. And then God's like, hey, yo, Cain, where's your brother? Where'd he go? And Cain's like, what? Am I supposed to watch over my brother all the time? I don't know where he's at. God's like, why are you lying? I know you killed him. I can hear his blood from the ground. And then God curses Cain. He says, when you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. A fugitive and a vagabond you shall be on the earth. And then he places a mark on him so that anyone who sees him won't kill him. It is not mentioned at all what this mark is. It's kind of implied that he's immortal. Some people think that Cain is still wandering the earth to this day, sort of thing. But the mark is debated in some circles. Like, some people think it was a horn, some people think it was a supernatural thing. It's never stated. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, so the reason I wanted to talk about this is because Cain brought an offering out of the goodness of his heart. There was nothing wrong with it. It was a good offering, but God rejected it, knowing that would cause Cain to kill Abel, right? And if God wanted a story like this for the Bible, why wouldn't he just let something naturally happen without his influence? There's the whole free will thing, right? No, personally, I don't think we have free will, though I am secular. I don't think that's for any supernatural reason. I just don't think we have free will because everything we do is, cause and effect. And I mean, on a quantum level, it's kind of hard to argue free will at all. But, even with our brain chemicals and psychology and all our biases and all that, it's really hard to argue that we have free will at all. But with this, I know a lot of Christians who argue that we do have free will because otherwise, our morality wouldn't matter, or there are verses that allude to some sort of free will. But this immediately just revokes all free will, right? Because God can influence things to happen, even if it wasn't directly, or even if he didn't directly cause it. So for instance, here, if God would have been if he would have accepted Cain's offering, then this wouldn't have happened, and God knew that. And there was no reason for him to not accept the offering other than wanting meat more. And I mean, if nothing else, he could have just taken both. There's no reason for him to not take it. right? So it was 100% God's fault that Cain killed Abel, and God knows that, and he knew it was going to happen. It's like... So my favorite thing about this is the first two stories in the Bible just immediately start off with God making catastrophic mistakes intentionally, if the rest of the Bible is to be believed, right? So God places the fruit in the middle of the garden, and he does things in just such a way that, like, he could have gotten rid of the serpent, right? He does things in just such a way that man and woman sin and get kicked out of the garden, and then he does things in just such a way that causes Cain to kill Abel. So immediately, right off the bat, God is just horribly at fault. And I mean, you know, things continue like this kind of through the Bible. These two are the most egregious, in my opinion. But there's also Job, which was just God flexing on Job while... I already did a video about Job, so I'm not gonna... Well, I don't know, I might go back into that. Or like Samson, like, God allows Samson to kill all these people who were, you know, just part of a civilization that did some bad things. Like, there was no reason... I shouldn't get into Samson right now. Anyway, so Abel is dead, and then, yeah, Cain killed Abel, so Abel is dead, and they have another kid named Seth, though the Hebrew word is set there, which literally means appointed, which I believe is where we get the English word set, like where you set something. So it means like appointed. So if you set something down, you appoint it to that place, sort of thing, which I think is interesting. Nothing philosophical there or anything. I just thought it was interesting. So because, you know, Abel died, so Set was set in Abel's place. This one's going to be a little bit shorter. I don't have as much to talk about with this. I just really wanted to draw attention to how God caused the first murder. And, you know, this causes all sorts of issues with the problem of evil, especially since most people defend the problem of evil with the free will argument. Not everyone does. I'm not sure what other arguments are against it, but the free will one is the most common for sure. There's also, like... it also causes problems with, like, why do we exist? There's a lot of existential problems with this, if you're Christian. I don't know, it's just like, God could have prevented the first murder, but he didn't. Presumably so he could have a story about it? So he could say, hey look, don't murder. But, like, if God has never said don't murder before this, right? So why is it even bad? Of course the 10 Commandments come later, but then those 10 Commandments are broken and there are another 10 Commandments. I'll get there eventually. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I love you all, and I don't know how to end this.